Hello, and welcome to Budgety Modern with real decks, where we have real, capable of winning decks in Modern. You could win a GP with this deck, but it's not going to break the bank. It's not the cheapest deck to build ever, but it's definitely affordable, and it's definitely a strong contender in Modern right now. And that's what the series is going to be about. Gonna hopefully play a bunch of different kinds of decks that are budgety, and also real contenders. So this one's called Eldrazi and Taxes, otherwise known as Black-White Eldrazi, or Black-White Eldrazi and Taxes, Black-White Taxes with Eldrazi. I mean, whatever. Eldrazi and Taxes is the typical name for it. Some people are running mono white Eldrazi and Taxes these days now that you have Shafet Dunes, but this one is the one with black. It's the one that's been around for a lot longer. Been around ever since Eldrazi Winter, actually, when some of the Death and Taxes players decided to start playing Eldrazi Temple instead of Tech Edge and just jamming Thought Not Seer and Eldrazi Displacer into their deck. And then they realized you could run Sculler, which works great with Strangler, if you splash black. The problem with Sculler, with splashing black, is that it costs black-white, and you really want to cast it on turn 2. Luckily, we have Ether Vial to help with that, and they just came out with the Concealed Courtyard and Kaladesh that helped out the mana base a little bit. Some people are running 3 Shambling Vents. I'm only running 2 because I like having more untapped lands on turn 1, so I'm running 1 Godless Shrine. But basically stock list, 2 Bobs and a Mirror Crusader is like kind of stock right now in the flex slots, because the Mirror Crusader is great against Grixis Death Shadow, also good against random green decks, and the Bobs are like the most powerful flex slot card you can play. It's like a must-answer threat that's going to draw you a bunch of cards, and you are kind of a control-ish deck in a way, even though you can have aggressive draws. And obviously the bread and butter of the deck: Path to Exile, Ether Vial, Leonin Arbiter, Thalia. That's like your main like Death and Taxes shell with Flicker Wisp. And then the other cards are the Eldrazi portion of the deck. Wasteland Strangler, Thought Not Seer, Eldrazi Displacer, and then Tide Hollow Sculler to round things out as just a really good 2-drop that's perfect with Ether Vial. You can vial it in on their draw step after they draw their card, take their best card in their hand that they can't cast yet if it's sorcery speed, and really do some damage to your opponent's hand with Thought Not Seer and Tide Hollow Sculler in the main deck. In the sideboard, we've got 2 Burnt and Forged Tenders. They're great against Burn, they're great against Anger of the Gods and Lightning Bolt. Just super good to bring in. You can vial them in with a Vial on 1, which is pretty sweet. 3 Rest in Peace and a Grafdigger's Cage. This deck is kind of weak to graveyard strategies if you don't get one of those cards in play, and obviously those cards are very good against graveyard strategies. 4 Stony Silence. The deck has trouble with Affinity, and Stony Silence just says pretty much Affinity can't win anymore. And then Fatal Push, Zealous Persecution, or Orzhov Pontiff, even Mind Sensor to round things out. The Zealous Persecution and Pontiff are great against Lingering Souls and just decks full of 1/1s. Fatal Push, obviously great against Mana Dorks, and I mean against a lot of decks, Fatal Push is really good. Mind Sensor is great against Gifts Ungiven decks, which is like Storm. Scape Shift, obviously even Mind Sensor is great, and actually I even bring it in against some of the mid-range decks because they're running crappy mana bases and they have to fetch all the time, and even Mind Sensor can really hurt the mana base. But yeah, that's the deck tech. This deck is very strong. I've played it a lot. And yeah, let's get into round 1, why don't we?